Hadouken. No, I don't know.
4, 3. Yeah, we were watching that show. Was it Network where they did that for the first time? I don't know. I was like,
Oh yeah.
I like
Funny enough, I showed the girls and Marissa, who hadn't seen it before, Thrill of It All, the Doris Day, James Garner film, where it's another
Isn't that the one with the
sort
medication?
of lampoon take on the advertising industry,
right? Isn't
what?
that the one about the medications, the pills?
Yeah, it's no, that's Pillow Talk.
No, that's the one with the party line.
With no, yeah, no, it's Send Me No Flowers.
Okay,
That's Rock
okay.
Hudson.
Yeah.
Also Doris Day, though. No, this is the one where she becomes an advertising spokesperson for a soap company, Happy Soap, and it's got the one. Her daughter is played by the same girl that's Gretel in Sound of Music, the youngest one that everyone's like, oh, you know, she's in it, and like her kids are super annoying the whole time. Like whoever wrote this, and I'm sorry for people out here that watch this, whoever wrote this movie had little kids at home. Because it's just like all the stuff that like constantly asking for attention and like getting into trouble in like really strange ways. You're like, how would you even think to do that? You know, kind of stuff. And anyway, it was really funny. But yeah, there's she does her first commercial live, and they're like,
yeah,
and she just loses it, says a bunch of nonsense, and feels totally
I need to watch that.
It's a great movie.
I haven't seen that in a while.
At Doris Day, James Gardner, a bunch of other people. When you watch it, you'd be like, "Oh, they're in this too. Oh, that one. Oh, dang!" You know, like a whole bunch of like the normal folks from the late 50s, early 60s rom-coms.
Guy that's always in it's her movies. That what's his name? Like he's like a short little kind of almost he's almost gay, but he's not gay in the movies. He's Tony
Randall.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, he's in Pillow Talk. Yeah, he's great.
But Jan,
that guy's so funny.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
You sure you don't want the car?
Take the car. My therapist says it'd be good for me.
It's like
I couldn't possibly. Oh my gosh, too good. Too good, man.
It's like it's not personal. If I'd given you
lingerie,
that would be personal, you know. But a car.
Yep. I was trying to show that to
great
Loa,
film,
and it just gets lost.
Wasn't her style.
Anything that's like pre 1981, 82, it's like, you know, too old.
Well, so I have a trump card on Trump? This one. And that is, So my two daughters, my youngest one is super interested in, not I wouldn't say super interested. It's not like she's a massive enthusiast, but she cares about stuff like film technology and, you know, why things are made the way they are, like what film budgets are spent on and why. Like that's kind of interesting to her, like the process of movie making. So bringing out a movie from the 60s and thinking about, well, there's only 3 interiors that are used. That's kind of cool. And like, well, that's fascinating. And then my oldest daughter is very interested in historical fashion. So the fact that, I mean, in that movie, in Thrill of It All, like in the main credits, right next to like screenwriter or whatever, is the woman who does the gown design for all the characters, like, and so the whole time she's just like, oh, that lady's oh my goodness, like the silhouette, you know,
that's cool.
Like, yep, different time, different fashion. It's kind of cool to watch and get some insights.
That lady that won?
Anyway,
she was always winning all the Oscar. Edith Head, just, you know, such a great eye. It's like, wow.
Like once in a lifetime talent, right there.
Yeah, once in a generation. What do they say? Right, once in a generation talent.
Yeah.
What do we got on the docket today, man? I went to. It's funny. I just got back from the doctor. I got myself a little IV here. Had a CT scan done. I had a swollen gland in my It's like a sublingual gland, basically, swelled up because it's some kind of blockage in the
Oh.
duct. So when you eat, your
For
you know
your
how your ducts
lymphatic system?
produce saliva. Ducks. I'm like quack quack. All the ducks in your mouth, quack quack. They produce saliva, and when you eat to help you digest, that saliva comes out of these tiny little glands. Well, one of my glands got blocked a couple weeks ago, and initially when it happened, I mean, there was like a day or two where it was like excruciating to eat anything because you'd like eat and it would like this would just back up and
Oh.
it would swell internally, it would swell here. So I go see my family doctor first, and they're like, oh yeah, well, it looks like it's a blocked duct probably. I need to pronounce the T, duct. I'm conjuring for myself pictures of ducks. Yeah. It's like duct tape, quack quack. So she said, yeah, it's probably a blocked duct, but here's some steroids and here's some antibiotics or whatever, and it'll make sure there's no infection. Well, anyway, I ran through those in like a week, and it was good. Oh, good. And in fact, since then, it really hasn't been an issue, but I can still feel in my mouth it's still a little swollen inside, but I don't feel it swelling anymore. So anyway, I went to get my scan today just to see, like, okay, can they extract it or whatever? So I should know some good news or bad news or whatever the case, here in the next couple hours.
So they just CT'd your
Dude,
whole
so have you
head,
ever had a
basically?
CT scan?
No, I had an MRI once before, which was a very peaceful experience.
Are you
I
being
loved every
facetious?
minute of that. It's like you could just leave me in there.
Oh, you actually
I'll
loved
just
it.
fall asleep. Like you're in this little. Oh yeah, you're in the little tube. They give you the blanket. There's that humming sound. And like, wake me up when we
They say people
reach
freak out in
Neptune or
those
whatever.
machines. Like they get claustrophobic. They're like, let me out.
Yeah.
You loved it.
It's
Yeah.
like, no, I loved it. I was like, this.
So the
Can I get a
CT
bed like
scan, you lay
this?
down on this bed and you go through what looks like a giant donut, and this thing's spinning, and they kind of like slide you back and forth through there. You have to remain completely motionless. Okay. And what a CT scan does is the technology is not an exact map, but like conceptually, like a thermal, you can get a thermal reading. It's kind of like that. They put this dye in your bloodstream, and this dye or contrast, or I can't remember what she called it, but basically that's what it is. Is it scoots through all your veins and all your your circulatory system, and it highlights for them.
So they can get a real clear picture.
But it's
with
bizarre,
that device.
dude, because I don't know what's in the formula that they give you, but she kind of warned me. She's like, hey, so I'm about to turn this formula on, and when I do the contrasting dye, you're going to feel a heat sensation because it feels hot, and you're going to feel this heat sensation go through your body, and you're going to think that you urinated, that you wet your pants, but you haven't. Okay, but it's just something that is really common for people to feel. So be aware and don't move, don't swallow, don't move, don't swallow.
Worry about it.
And here it comes. And so I'm kind of like, okay, and I'm the kind of person that likes to experiment with different substances anyway. So I was kind of like, cool, let's see what it's like, but it was
not cool.
It was bizarre, dude. I mean, you could literally feel like heat moving through your body, and it really did feel like I had like wet my pants. Like you literally felt, because the warmth like kind of travels down there and it comes back up, obviously, but it's fascinating. Yeah.
I'd freak out. They need to sedate me.
Just to like get that, like, not just a mental picture, but like you could actually feel like this is going through your entire circulatory system, up and down and around. I mean, it was crazy, but super cool. So I don't know why I brought that up. It was just I thought you might find it interesting.
Well, you had to tell why you don't know anything that's going on.
That's right.
You've been busy with your health stuff.
Yeah. I still have an idea of some things.
Well, I don't think there's been that much. So a lot of the stuff that we were talking about last week, we talked a lot about gerrymandering. We talked about the House Democrats leaving the state. And they are shutting down the special session on Friday, so day after tomorrow. And as last I heard, and then the governor is immediately calling another one, and this time the Democrats will attend, so they feel like they made their point, or as
I hadn't heard that
can be made at this point. Yeah, so I maybe about an hour and a half ago, I was seeing news that
Gene said
they
that?
were coming back, and that was I don't remember who it was. I saw it on Twitter, X. Sorry. So I know I shouldn't believe
Yeah,
everything I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
read on X, um, but it seemed like this was sort of retweeted by a lot of people, and so I don't know, looked okay. But I can double check for
I was
you.
just looking right
But
here. This is
it
3
looks
hours
like
ago.
what do you
Democrats, uh,
what do you see?
so Democrats who fled Texas to block the GOP's redistricting plot their exit strategy. They're beginning to frame their ability to prevent new maps from passing. They're hammering out a plan for their return home. 10 days out of state. Don't have a full consensus. Hard to get folks on the same page. Yeah, I'll bet.
Mm-hmm.
um, Democrats will not come back to Austin until Republicans bring the first special session to a close. Okay. Well, that just
Scheduled to do
yeah,
that
exactly.
Friday.
I saw Abbott. I saw Abbott saying, I think he was on Chris Cuomo or whatever, and he was just like, and Cuomo was like, well, I mean, what are you going to do? And then he's like, dude, we'll just call another one. We'll call another one. I'll call him every day. You know, he's like, they can stay out of the state for the next, year and a half until the next election, I guess. That's their call. But this is what we're doing. And I think
You
the
lose your
question was,
residency.
I think the question was, and it's actually a decent question, in my opinion. So flood relief
Mm-hmm.
is on the agenda to discuss, and it's one of the things
Yeah.
that can't be discussed, obviously. And so, like, one of the questions was, well, would you consider tabling this until we could at least get the flood relief out, and then you can pick that back up? And he was like,
There's no way.
well, and
Why
it's
would he
so
do
funny,
that?
dude. Like the
Why would he do
real
that? That's
answer.
a terrible strategy.
Well, the real answer is no. That would be strategically awful, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of leverage with it right now, and I don't want to give it up. But he can't say that because it looks like he doesn't give a damn about the voters, And so, which he doesn't. So, but we can't have people know that.
Sure he does. He cares about the voters that are
That's right.
voting for him and making sure they're in the appropriate places.
That's right.
That's all.
That's right. Yeah.
Dude. It's not that he cares about none of them. Come on.
He doesn't care about any of them. The minute they stop agreeing with his position, he'll stop caring about them too. Like, I mean, this guy. And by the way, it's not that I don't think he's especially nefarious. Like, they're all like that. But yeah. But so it's kind of funny to just watch him tap dance because you're like, what the answer is. We all are in on the joke, but it's like, he's like, oh no, I mean, that's what we are doing is standing up for Texas families, blah, blah, blah. That's what they need. I mean, just as important as getting this money out is getting the representation in place. I mean, it's the Democrats that are holding this up, not us. I mean, we're ready to rock and roll, and it's all kabuki anyway, because we have enough votes. Eventually they're going to have to come back here. It's going to pass. So the only thing they're doing is performative. They're the ones holding this up. It's all just this, blame shifting. Anyway, it's so funny, dude. Like, I was talking to my buddy Tom today. We were having a back and forth on text, and he had sent me some post. He was like, oh, this is so ridiculous. Like, now so and so cares about such and such. I don't want to say what side of the thing he was on, but he was just aggravated, And
Sure.
he's like, I can't even engage anymore. And I'm like, bro, it's so hard. I used to engage all the time on social media and politically, and I'm just like, I just can't. It not only does it not get you anywhere, but it's like, dude, everybody is on. The only thing people want to hear is what they already agree with. It's like they already know what they think, and all they want to hear is people saying you're so right. And they're just waiting for somebody to come up and go, well, I don't know about that, and then they'll just tear him a new, rear end, and well, you must.
Those other people are fools.
Right.
And probably
you must be a communist, or you must be a fascist, depending on what side of the, throw your flavor slur against the wall. And, it's like, but I told Tom, I was like, on the other hand, as I get frustrated about it, I always kind of remind myself, actually, you're so fortunate to live in a world filled with such knowledgeable and intelligent people who already have all the answers to everything. It's very cool. Myself, I still have some questions, but it's cool that y'all have it all figured out.
Was it? I think it was Francis Bacon who said something like, and I can't remember. I'll have to look it up, but I think it was him. And he said that common sense is one of the most amazing things in the whole
It's
world
not common.
because it's so evenly
Oh,
no. He says it's so evenly distributed that nobody wants any more than they already have. I was
yeah,
like,
that's good.
ah! I'm pretty sure that was him. I need to look
Well,
it
and
up
I
to be
think
sure,
too.
but it's like, wow,
I think too.
that's
You know,
gold.
I heard another great quote today. Just great quote, and it's like, and it's one of these quotes. I mean, I tell it to you, you'll be like, oh, I've heard that before, but it was so good. So the quote is, "I have met the enemy, and it is I, Alexander." Right? That's Alexander the Great's quote. I've met the enemy, and it is I. You know, except grammatically it should be it is me, but but yeah, it was like yeah, that's exactly right. You know, it's like you get on here and you got all your opinions and you're outraged about whatever it is, and it's like, I saw some statistic today that I think CNN had put it out that searches on the Epstein scandal have dropped by 87% in the last week. And I'm like, well, what could have driven that?
Yeah.
All the latest disclosures that satisfied everybody's need to learn everything. No, it's just, dude, people, it's just a tempest in a teapot, and they just move right along. We got a fresh new one to talk about this week. It's just, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like different classes of people, not classes of people, but like
Two types of people. There's two types of people.
like what people are no different goals or aims for this stuff. So somebody might be wanting to do a real deep dive on, well, what's going on here for real. Like, so here's a weird example from the tech world. Okay, do you remember, and this was a few years ago, where Apple was in the news because they had degraded the performance of their
Oh
old
yeah. Yeah. The planned obsolescence or
iPhone?
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, battery gate. Yeah, so this is what everybody here, planned obsolescence, went around social media, whatever. Well, that's half the story. The other half of the story is what Apple was noticing was as their batteries aged, the ability for them to instantly send a lot more voltage up to the CPU would get it would lose that ability just over time, like over the course of 2 or 3 years. Now, unlike Android, most people that have Android phones tend to replace theirs fairly often. I see a lot of people that are still using Lightning connectors on their iPhone. They're like, I'm going to wait till this
Right.
thing falls apart. They'll replace the screen 3 or 4 times at one of these little shops
Right.
somewhere. Well, when these batteries reach this point and they no longer able to boost the voltage that fast, if the CPU requests it, it'll try, fail, and the phone will
Mm.
shut down. So you then have to restart the phone to get it back up. So Apple, looking at this, is like, we don't want our customers who have these old devices to have this experience of their phone suddenly shutting down while they're trying to do stuff on it. And as newer software comes out, the more likely it is that these older phones will need to go into high voltage, high performance mode in order to run newer software. And so they're like, well, we got a solution. We'll do this firmware. We'll slow it down. It won't ramp up as fast. Give the battery a chance to catch up. And yes, you'll lose a little bit of performance, but it doesn't crash now on your old phone that is now out of warranty
Right.
anyway.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, this is a reasonable thing to do. But they got absolutely slammed on social media for this, for like evil company, yeah, planned obsolescence, all this other stuff. And it's the opposite. They're trying to extend the
Right.
life
Right.
of the phone, not
Right. Right.
make it worse. So right. So the same thing happens with a lot of political stuff where it's like, oh, here comes the headline, and it's whatever it is, Pete Buttigieg fired a bunch of air traffic controllers, and that's this explains Southwest's problems with booking or whatever. It's like, well,
Right.
maybe, and then you look back and you do, and it's like, well, actually, he was trying to help or
Mhm.
whatever it is, and I think you do have a subset of people, and maybe this is actually a larger subset of people that really are just kind of enjoying
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
episode,
They just tuned
you
in to
know?
watch the show. Yeah. What are they doing this week?
Yeah, they're like,
What's gonna happen with so and
"What's
so?
happening?" It's like and you notice how too, and by the way, I just finished binge watching all 7 seasons of Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
So yeah,
So,
I saw you shared
I'd
that with
never
me. I
seen it
was like,
before.
okay, I put it on my watch list. So
It's actually first 2 seasons are
Oh,
bad,
okay.
but after that it gets good. Anyway, my point though is that one thing you'll notice if you ever binge watch a show is that there'll be a lot of times where the screenwriters will put in sort of catch-up phrases where one character will be like, "Well, as you know, we've been at war with them for years," or whatever, and you're like, Why do you tell us?" "Oh, it's because not everyone has tuned in at this moment, have been watching the show,
Oh,
and they
oh,
might need a refresher because that was,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
3
yeah, yeah,
months ago,"
yeah.
right? And it's like, "Well, how long have you been like this?"
Well,
It's
if you
like,
remember, I
"What?
told you 2
It
weeks
seems kinda
ago.
out of nowhere."
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So now you can tell if the more serialized a show is, the more of these reminder dialogue segments will get presented. And there's a tipping point where at that point, and I don't know where this is, but there's a point where it overwhelms the dialogue itself. So Game of Thrones reached this point around season 4, season 5, where maybe like 25-30% of all the dialogue was reminder
That's
dialogue, catch
interesting,
up
man. I've
dialogue. It
never
was
paid
really
attention to that. That's
strange.
an interesting thing.
Go back and watch. You'll notice you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. He's not everyone caught the last couple episodes." So you start to see that with some news reporting. Um, so we were talking we were talking last week about the whole Candace Owens and
Yep,
Macron thing,
yep,
Brigitte Macron. And if you take a look at any of the mainstream articles, you'll see Candace Owens, a far right
yeah.
YouTube influencer, pretending to be a journalist, has given a repeated her
Right, right, right.
debunked claim, whatever. And you'll see it on every single one. They'll have the same kind of phrases, and it's like, there's your catch-up phrase. In case you missed out on all the episodes where we're supposed to be outraged about this person who whatever, slinging whatever salacious story about some celebrity politician. That's like, don't forget, right? They're like the
Right.
baddies over there. Um, don't
Yeah, yeah,
you're
yeah.
at war with them. So okay, now now
Right.
the story can continue. So
Reminder dialogue.
yeah, I think some people yeah, I think a lot of people are just kinda on the episode
It's
train, and so you don't wanna get down to the bottom of it. You don't wanna keep the Epstein thing along because that was
last
that
season.
was
Yeah, we're already
last
past that.
season.
Didn't we kill that
It's
character
like,
off? Yeah. Quite literally.
the seasons are the sea and plus the seasons are so short now. Like, I don't know how long a season is.
Yeah.
6 weeks,
Shoot, the
7 weeks?
last season of 1923, I just finished that, the Yellowstone, 7 episodes, you know. Although, in fairness, I think it could have been
Yeah.
3. Um, defi- he
Oh,
definitely,
they dragged it
he
out?
definitely pulled a
Ah.
third Hobbit movie on that one. Although it was excellent. I mean, it was excellent. It's absolutely, it's only 7, so it's like it's absolutely worth it. It's worth the payoff. It's just there was a bunch of stuff. Yeah,
This is
there was
this is
just a
Taylor
bunch of stuff
Sheridan,
in there
right?
where I felt like,
Yeah.
on reflection, maybe just you could have lost that. You could have lost this, and you left like 3 really unanswered questions that I need to know, and whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. That dude needs to be careful. He's doing that to
yeah.
several of his shows
Well,
now.
I mean, how creative
So,
can one person be? I mean, it's really just something else. I mean, I think did we talk
they're
about
limited.
his process too
We're
on
finding
here? I feel like we did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did at one point, yeah. But
oh
catch
yeah,
up the
we
rest
could
of
do
the
some
audience.
reminder dialogue. That's okay. If you missed it, you missed it. So um, speaking of this reminder dialogue, I've been fascinated with this conversation about the DC, Trump deploying the National Guard in DC.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, that has happened
yeah,
over the
and
last week, yeah.
it's I mean I have concerns myself about like I don't think anybody likes seeing military on the streets. I don't think a gratuitous show of a performative show of force is is necessarily beneficial or solves any problems. And I also don't think that some of the other language that they've been using around well, hey, we're going to clean up DC, and then next we're going to go to Chicago and da da da. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, DC has a certain set of laws that it is federal district, so you have a lot of the stuff that you're doing in DC right now, you could not do legally in any other city. So the way that they're doing it, and so
Isn't that because, uh, in the Constitution, DC is governed directly by
by the
Congress, the
federal
federal
government. So the
government, or
federal government before,
Yeah. So, of course, he wouldn't have the authority to do that.
but
This is
they're
the only
talking
city that's
about it.
like
See,
that.
so like so And again,
Oh, oh,
a lot of these are
oh.
just like, in my opinion, just self-inflicted wounds that are so unnecessary. And on the other hand, it totally feeds into the, his base's desire to hear, we're gonna go after these chuckleheads and clean it up. So I think they're begging for it, and on the other hand, so they're getting what they know what they're doing in terms of they're putting out this content. They're gonna get blowback on it, but I feel like they think the blowback is good for them. And in this particular case, it's hard to see how they're misplaying this from my point of view. So like for people that don't know, before 1971, DC was literally just directly governed by the federal government, and I mean they didn't have nothing,
No
nothing.
mayor, no city council,
They
nothing.
actually had
Yeah.
they would have, and you can go Google some of this stuff. It's really interesting. They used to have militias basically that would, I mean, federal, like, okay, we're going to send whatever over here because we got the premier of such and such coming in here. We need to clean up, this area. I mean, it was just, uh, you know, uh, I would compare it to how, San Francisco is run, perhaps, so just, but in 1971, they said, okay, well, we're gonna create home rule and give you guys some limited, form of government. You can elect a mayor, you have city councilmen, et cetera. But in the law, it says like if we, the federal government, feel like you're not, doing your job, like we reserve the right to come in and, take over. And I mean, that's in the charter. So it's like, to me, it's like, it's all this crying about like, oh, this is illegal. And da, da, da. It's like, first of all, if you don't, obviously
It's
legal.
obviously legal.
And I mean, even
Yeah.
the mayor is saying it's illegal. It's legal, But then the other thing is, like, if you go back just a year and a half ago, and I lived in DC for a year. I love DC. In fact, if I had to pick anywhere on earth that I felt was like a second home for me, it would be DC. I love it. And it's just, it's sad to see like what has, come of the city. And I mean, like,
No, 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 dude. Crime
yeah,
is
but
down.
from when and
Didn't you
from
know
what?
that?
This is this is what's crazy. You see this stuff on like, I watch Morning Joe religiously. I've been watching it for years. Yeah,
Oh,
but I do. I
no.
watch it.
Okay, that's all right. I
There
read
you
News
go.
Guy too, so whatever.
But I mean,
Who am I to talk?
it's actually kind of, I mean, it's kind of funny. I mean, like on this one, like Joe, Mika, all except there's a couple people on there that are not. But like they're like, look, he's right. It is, yeah, it's gotten
Oh,
so
wow.
bad. Joe even this morning read a text that he had gotten from a buddy of his. He's like, this is a friend of mine. I'm not going to out him, but I mean, this guy's a super liberal guy, and lives in DC, et cetera. And he sent me this, and he's like, I'm 100% with the president on this one. This is ridiculous. Like, I mean, the crime is so like bad in terms of, and again, you can look at every measurable statistic, and then of course this is even gets in before you have a talk about like, are the statistics doctored at all? So like, which they are. And I mean, the police union in DC says that they are. Like, the union members are like, dude, these stats aren't fake, right? And so like that's not a right wing talking point. Those are DC cops saying that, right? So the cops are saying that they're under pressure.
Oh, but
Sure, sure,
ACAB,
sure.
dude, like those cops are
Sure, sure, sure.
also
Yeah,
the
that's
enemy.
right.
You forgot.
Oh my God. I just got,
Whatever.
to me, it's like, okay, the Washington Post a year and a half ago was running articles about the crime problem. Okay. So it hasn't been cleaned up in the last year and a half. Like, I mean, it's not. And so it's like, well, how can you go from that to, now like the unifying message on, any kind of, just mainstream media, type content is like, well, there's no crime. Crime is down. It's a peaceful city. Like, we were running around the National Mall today in the Lincoln Memorial, and we saw, the National Guard people standing and taking pictures with geese and, doing nothing. And it's all a bit, it's all performative. And, this is just the first step of, the fascist takeover. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, um, it's so nuts. And, it's not like, I mean, even today with the crime the way it is, I mean, it's not like it's the most dangerous city in America, but it is, whether it's murders, whether it's carjackings, whether it's whatever, I mean, like it ranks very high in terms of percentages. And it's like, he's right. It's like, dude, this is capital, So it's like, it's one thing if this is going on in Chicago or Boston or wherever else, but I mean, this is DC. We got people coming in here from all over the place. It's not that it's cool in those places either, but Wes Moore, who's in Maryland, he came out and he was like, he's making the absolute right plays. I think like I'm watching Democrats and saying, okay, who's got a shot of actually like, coming up in this environment? I mean, he's definitely on that list because he was like, yeah, he's like, and we're doing this to crack down on crime. We're doing this to crack down on crime. Like, I mean, what voting resident wants more crime? Like, it's crazy. So I don't see how this is. I don't see how this is a sellable thing. I mean, it's anyway.
No, it's it'll be interesting. Like, some of the reaction, of course, there's this knee-jerk reaction that a lot of people on the left have, or whatever Trump does is bad automatically. Like, they're not even willing to say like the clock is right twice a day, even though it's the broken clock. It's like, no, even then it's wrong. So I was like, oh yeah, homicide. Actually, I love homicide. Homicide's great. Or we should be arresting even fewer people. Like, that's clearly the what we should be doing. And I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. I was trying to find how the DC homicide rate.
Hold on one second. Yeah. I got it, Okay. Okay, got it. So this is here. Let me just give you something here. So
I was trying to find it. Yeah.
This is from USA Facts. Okay. So.
Okay.
1,151 violent crimes per 100,000 people, and 4,300 property crimes per 100,000 people. Compared to the 50-state average, violent crime was 200% higher, and rate of property crime 25%, 125% higher. So I mean,
wow.
And then
so there is a crime problem. Wait. So that's 5,000 per 100,000 people. So 1 out of every 20 people has had a property crime, and 1 out of every 50 has had a violent crime. No, 1 out of every 100 has had a violent crime.
Correct.
1 out of every 100 people has been assaulted or murdered.
Yep. 53% of all the violent crimes were robberies, 40% were assaults, and then 3% rapes, and another 3% murders. So I mean, here's your crime rate, and here's this. So 1,100 per 100,000 people, and then I mean, here's New Mexico is pretty bad, 749. But I mean, it's just way less. It's one of the worst. In fact, that may be the worst outside. And it's like, look, I mean, and again, it's like, okay, yeah. So they pull out these stats and they're like, oh, but crime has been down. Crime has gone down steadily the last, over the last several years. It's like, yeah, but from what? It's like, dude, if you're falling from 1,000 feet, and everybody else is falling from 500 feet, everybody else hits the ground, right? You still got 500 feet to go. It's like, oh, look, in DC, you can jump and fall 500 feet. It's totally safe. That's literally like, this is so stupid.
What are some of the other areas around there that are fairly? So Baltimore, I believe, has a reputation for being not terribly safe.
Look at this one here. Between 2022 and 2023, overall crime rate increased in 16 states and DC. And DC more than anybody else. So like Maryland went up 16%, Georgia 4%. The rest of these, these are crimes going up, and in DC up almost 25%.
Well,
so and again, so here's DC, and here's the 50-state average. 50-state average murder. So in the country, and this 50 states does not include DC, I don't think, for statistical purposes, but maybe it does. I don't know. We'd have to look at that. But regardless, so -12, -10, all negative. See this? Except for motor vehicle theft is up. Everything else down. Here's DC. Everything is up.
Ooh,
look at this one.
Except for rape. Rape is down. Yeah. So let me float
Come
something
on.
by you.
Come
Let me
on.
just float something by you. Yeah. Let's think about it this way. So some of the backlash, like I said, is just whatever Trump says. If Trump says it's good, it's bad. If Trump says it's bad, it's good. Whatever. Okay, so let's put those people aside because they're not thinking rationally about any of this stuff. Right? It's the same way we'd put aside people that are like, well, the reason is because demon possession. You're like,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I mean, you can't even call it
sure,
thinking. Like, how is that thinking? Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So let's move all that aside. What would be bad about this? Like thinking if you're a Democrat. So DC has a Democrat mayor. It's very vast majority of people there would identify as Democrat voters. Same for the outlying areas and close by cities. And you've got a lot of these other large cities that have crime issues.
Dude, any
San Francisco
city
being
has
one,
crime
for
issues,
example.
Yeah.
No, I know, but like
Oh,
escalating
I see.
crime
Okay.
issues, right? You don't, right? It's not like you walk around Fort Worth and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in
Right.
danger. It's like
It's
it's
even
fine,
worse than it was
right?
last year. Right.
And to the same extent, Houston's a blue city. I don't feel unsafe around Houston. So, but some of these, like DC is blue. If they move in, if they federalize it, and suddenly everything's better. So think about DC having like a Rudy Giuliani moment when he comes into New York City and cleans up the town. And I don't know if you remember like the movies from the 80s or whenever they're set in
Oh,
New
yeah.
York, there's like trash
Totally.
everywhere. And there's like just massive amounts of like lawlessness. And then you fast forward into the 90s and movies about New York City, it's like clean and beautiful and charming and all this other stuff.
Oh, hey, hold on a second. I got to go take care of this. I'll be right back.
Woof, woof, woof. Well, we need to have a sponsor break. So let's see. What should we sponsor this one by? Oh, here we go. So there's this beautiful coffee shop in San Diego called the Java Earth Coffee. And it is absolutely gorgeous little coffee shop. It started in 2010. It has it's in a very walkable area of, what's this, La Jolla? Not really sure. Anyway, went there. So my cousin got married, and that was where he had the ceremony. So went and visited. On a long walk through the town, stopped and got, I think, probably one of the best shots of espresso I've had at Java Earth Coffee. That's our sponsor. They're in San Diego. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Keep it classy, San Diego.
Yeah. So anyway, if they have like a Giuliani style moment for DC, then doesn't it like demonstrate the lie, or maybe where people say, well, the reason that these cities, I mean, my goodness, like maybe we need to defund the police, or maybe we need to fund all this other stuff, maybe we need to do all these things, and you have all these kind of especially on the more left side of the Democrat Party, certain priorities, social priorities. It's like, actually, no, we don't need to do any of that stuff. All that's a waste of time. All we need to do is get more cops on the street and arrest a bunch of people, the ones that are obviously causing problems.
Well, so here's where I disagree. Here's where I disagree.
We don't need
here's where I disagree with you. Because and it's interesting you brought up Giuliani, because I think people bring this up and they just time seems to be kinder to people in retrospect than they really deserve. It's like, if you go back and look, I mean, Giuliani was, dude, first of all, kudos for taking down the mafia, using the RICO, all this stuff, legendary stuff, right? It's great. But I mean, dude, the guy was, you look through, like, I mean, he was, the stop and frisk. I mean, it's completely like violating people's civil rights. And, and there is absolutely a world of concern there. I got zero problems with people saying, look, we got to be mindful of people's civil rights. We have to have controls. We have to have watchdogs. We have to 100%. Absolutely. And cops that are like, I'm not going to wear body cam because this and that and the other. It's like, dude, you get okay, then you don't need to be a police officer and just get lost. You're here to serve the public, And so I'm sorry, and I get it.
No, I'm here to be a sheepdog. Gotta stop the wolves from getting the sheep.
Oversight sucks. but it's also necessary. Okay, just not because you're a bad person, but because bad people crop up from time to time, and like you should be the one saying, like, of course we want that, because it enhances your credibility when you're like, look, I have an insurance license, I have to get recertified. So every couple of years. So it's like when I get on the phone and talk to somebody or I sit down with somebody, it's like they can have some reasonable confidence and I know what I'm talking about. It gives me
Mhm.
credibility, and it's like it's a huge boost. It's also a barrier to entry into the business. I mean, there's all kinds of different things there that go into having quality controls and regulations. Okay, I'm 100% on board with that,
Sure.
and there are
Sure. Sure.
legitimate concerns about what government overreach at every level, with federal, state, city, etc.
Yep.
So I'm all good with that conversation. Where I get off the train with these people is like, look, if we're gonna like completely close our eyes to stats and completely close our eyes to real problems that are going on because it reflects badly on some marginalized group or whatever. It's like, dude, I'm sorry. Um, you know, you're the taxpayers, the people that live there, the people that own homes there, the people that have invested there. I mean, think about it. Like, you're going to a job, you're working, you bought a house, your kids are going to school. You deserve to have some safety. You deserve to know that you know what I mean? Like that's you deserve that. And it's like, and the thing is that it just boggles my mind. It's like, dude, you don't hear people saying, like, back in the 40s, um, if only these clan members had, better job opportunities or better education, or maybe some better services or something, they wouldn't be out, lynching people. It's like, dude, no,
Yeah.
this is what you're doing is wrong. It needs to stop. And it's like, but yet, if we're talking about inner city, incidents, it's like, oh well, it's not their fault. I mean, it's this and that and the other. It's like, dude, what are you talking about? You cannot.
Yeah, or giving the equivalent of, the "what was she wearing" thing. It's like, well, why was he in that neighborhood in the first place?
I just
And,
It's
you know,
crazy.
everyone knows that subway train is not for you. So here's what I think. So you and I are thinking about this from the perspective of people who actually like to live in their communities, and would like to give people opportunities and so on, right? We're not in government for
Well,
obvious
yeah.
reasons. We actually want people's lives to be better. So, but if you're one of these groups, you don't care about that stuff. That doesn't matter. In fact, in some ways, people living better lives is worse for you. And this is one of the jokes everyone makes when they talk about, like, everyone's a liberal until they get their first paycheck and they see how much is withheld, and they're like, I make minimum wage. Like, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, too bad. What's that being paid for? Nothing.
Right.
It's just goes into a black
Right.
hole. Thank you for your service. And then you're like, dang it, taxes need to be lower. Like, welcome to conservatism. But so I think what, if people are sort of more dependent on programs and services, and then I think if you're in the industry of creating, sustaining, funding, managing programs and services, then you have a nice little symbiosis going on there. It's kind of like the way people critique the pharmaceutical industry. It's like, the pharmaceutical industry doesn't want cures; it wants manageable diseases. So it's like, it's okay that you're sick with this. We've got whatever. We got all this cool stuff that will help you live with that condition. You'll be fine. But we don't want to cure you. That's bad for business. So I think if you look at where the Democrat Party has positioned itself today, and this is not always the case. I mean, if you look at the '90s, Bill Clinton was definitely not like this. But where the Democrat Party is today is the party of programs and services and NGOs and studying the problem and all that stuff. And I think if that's the case, then someone actually coming in and like cleaning up the stuff is bad.
Right.
You
It
you don't
interferes with my ability to earn a living, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing is, you don't live in if you're one of these people, you don't live in those neighborhoods. You live somewhere else. Your friends are often, these cool neighborhoods where they have mostly, government contractors have cushy salaries and live there, and you commute into work on 2 days a week, and the other three you're remote, and like, it doesn't matter to you. Like, and those people over there, those are just resources. resources to be exploited,
yeah,
used.
that sucks.
And so I think that is I think that is the real fear here, is that if they clean it up with just boots on the ground, especially if it's done, Giuliani, I don't know all the details of all that stuff, um, but there was the national perception that New York went from a dirty, crime-infested place to a nice place that you should go on vacation and take your
Sure,
family.
yeah.
That happened. So if the same kind of thing happens, then I think that it maybe deflates some of this. Let's be the providers of programs and services, because people are like, we don't want that. We want boots on the ground. Look at DC, worked great, you know. And so then I think that's where that pressure, when Trump or the people around him are like, and we're going to do this in other cities. I don't think it's like, we're going to federalize your police force and create some kind of constitutional crisis or separation of powers crisis or something, or federal
Mhm.
crisis. But I think it's instead like, when this works, you're going to have to do it too.
Yeah, I mean, to me,
I think.
I just, I don't know. I'm like, another stat that is just completely troubling around this is, that out of all the incarcerated people on Earth, right, on Earth, all of the people that are in jail somewhere on this planet, 25%, 1 out of 4 of them are in the United States. And
Yes.
like just in New York, the reason I know this, I was looking at some stats on something else earlier, but in state prisons in New York, they spend an average of $315 a day. Okay, that's
Mhm.
$115,000 a year to incarcerate one person.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay,
Sounds about
and it's like, okay, well, look, you what and I get there's a massive racket going on between, law enforcement, and these public private partnerships with these, privately run prisons where, and I mean, there's so many cases now. It's not even controversial to say judges being in these pockets, prosecutors, et cetera, to get more
yeah.
people in jail, because
Yeah.
it's profitable.
It's
It's
good for
good
business.
business. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, this is so just back
Well,
asswards.
I think, yeah, I think the U.S. is ripe for a very large scale criminal justice reform. Hopefully, it doesn't take like a Bastille moment,
But look, I mean,
like empty the
it's
prisons.
like you can
Uh,
have both things at the same time. You can have a decisive, um, um, what do you call it? Like a delineated response to crime as it occurs, you know, and you
mhm.
can couple that with, it could be prison, but it could be remediation programs, could be counseling, it could be a combination of these things. It could be, you're incarcerated for this long, but you can buy down your time with improvements in these areas, et cetera. You can have job training, et cetera, so these people can get out and hopefully, become productive members of society. I mean, the whole word
Yeah.
penitentiary, is about a place that you
To become
go to
penitent.
be penitent, and ponder on,
Think about
rethink
what
your
you've done.
life, like this guy in Star Wars. Hey, go over and rethink your life. And we're not doing that. It's like, what's the
No,
fastest way we
well,
can have a show of force here so people feel good about cracking
yeah.
down on, and then let's make a bunch of money for our buddies that own the prisons. It's just, it's gross.
So here's a question for you, and this is something I've been thinking about for a bit, just trying, because I've been trying to wrap my head around just the scale of the U.S. prison system, which is uh,
Mind-bogglingly huge. It's the
breathtaking,
largest on Earth.
breathtaking. Yeah. Um, what is the point of putting a non-violent offender in incarcerating a non-violent offender?
It's a great question.
So just at all, like I would like to have a justification for that, because I think for a violent offender, it's like, well, okay, in the same way that like if you have a dog that's attacking
You
people,
got to
you
put
put
them,
them
or
behind a
put them down.
fence,
Yeah.
and yeah, and so it's like, okay, this person is like out there, uh, sticking guns in people's faces and stealing their cars. It's like, yeah, well, no, we're not going to allow that, and you have to be somewhere else where you can't hurt anyone. Like, okay, I get that. Um, but anything that doesn't involve violence, why would they need to be put behind a fence? I mean, why not have like some kind of um, compulsory community service system in
Right.
place
They
where
could be
it's
cleaning
like
up the
we could
streets.
have like the cleanest possible cities. If it's like, oh, you did such and such, we caught you doing this and that. Um, especially if it's one of these quote unquote like victimless crimes, like we find you're carrying, a personal use amount of cocaine. I don't know, something that's illegal. It's like, okay, did you hurt anybody yourself? You should stop that. We're going to put you in a treatment program, and also you need to do 150 hours picking up trash around downtown. And like, okay, why would you put that person in jail? And that's the thing that I don't get that part. Like any
Me
nonviolent
neither.
crime, there's probably a reason, and I think if we had someone
Well,
listen through
when
this,
you
someone
say
who
it
is an
like you
expert
just
in criminology,
when you say it
they
the way
might.
you just said it, you're going to have people that nitpick that, like just because any violent crime, yeah. But like it's just as something to ponder, right? At
Yeah.
what level of criminality do you need to engage in to where putting you in a prison is the best, use of our resources? And I think
Well, and the best thing for the people around you,
right,
right? Like I can understand needing to isolate the dog that attacks other dogs. I get that, and it's like for everybody's safety. It's for his safety too. It's like we're trying to be compassionate here. Um, but if that's not the case, if the dog is just like pooping inside every once in a while, do we need to like put him in a little box?
right,
Or there's something else we can do. Maybe there's something
right.
else we can do. I don't know.
Because it'd be to his benefit and our benefit if the pooping on the carpet just stopped.
Yeah, no, we need to
Yeah,
stop it, but we need to figure out how to stop it that doesn't involve something like that. It's like,
right.
well, I guess we're just going to have to leave him in a kennel, and we'll spend $300 a month to keep him in the kennel from now on.
Yeah.
That
And
solves
he
our.
won't be pooping on the carpet
We
anymore.
won't
He'll
be
just be
moving on.
pooping in the kennel.
We'll never see him again. That's that.
Yeah.
Ta-da! You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
don't get it. That to me is really strange. And
So these are the areas I think it's cool. This is a good conversation because I think like there's so much around um, this conversation around defunding the police and stuff. It's like I get where the conversation comes from. It's like, okay, police is responding to I remember the big argument back in the day was back in the day, 4 years ago, whatever, was, hey,
what is 2020? That's ancient
dom-
history, man.
right, a domestic dispute is happening. Like, well,
Okay.
you need counselors and trained therapists. That's police. That's not their job. Now you're bringing in an armed person into a situation. It's an escalation. It's like, but have you noticed, like in effect? Okay, I get where you're coming from. Makes sense theoretically. Why don't we have a pilot program and see how it works, right? And then it's like, well, what you find out pretty quick because they did it. They did pilot programs. They didn't call them that. They just defunded the police in certain places. But okay, and what you find out is that hey, actually, the most dangerous calls you can go on are domestic dispute situations. That's where people are so riled up. I mean, that's worse than road rage. That's worse than all this other kind of stuff. And it's like you walk in there without a gun, like you're insane. Like that is not some place that you want. I mean, who goes down the street and hears somebody like yelling and beating and crashing around in the house and goes, "Oh, I'm gonna go in there and talk to them, calm that guy down." I mean, there's no
We'll
amount of
de-escalate
training.
this.
There's no amount of training and sweet talk that's gonna no. Somebody needs to come in with a monopoly of violence and put an end to that situation, separate people, and then okay, let's figure out what the proper process is for you guys to go through to deal with this.
Yeah. Well, and
It just
probably tomorrow is a great time to bring in the counselor. But what about tonight?
right. Yeah.
Like I would also support the counseling part too. So, like I think that's a great point. It's like, well, we could try to resolve the root of this situation so that we're not going back on the same domestic disturbance call, every Friday night because it's like, nah, she drank too much again. Now she's like throwing dishes at the husband, kids crying. It's like, let's see if we can solve that. But at the time, those things can escalate real fast.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
think
I don't.
there's a great theory, and it's so funny. People have mocked it, etc. I have not seen any empirical evidence to say how this theory is wrong. The theory is the broken windows theory,
Oh, I thought you
that
were about
they
to say that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And it's like so for people that haven't heard of the broken windows theory is that look, in any let's say you're playing Sim City and you're taking over, some city that has a crime problem. The first thing that you want to do is and make a high priority is actually fixing the broken windows, painting over the graffiti, and getting the city back to a place where visibly people can start to reconnect with their community. Because what happens is when you have all this visible evidence of crime or neglect or whatever decay, people begin to disassociate themselves from their environment because they're like, well, dude, I mean, that's the way I would feel. Any reasonable person, it's like, well, I'm not a part of this. I mean, these people are, and so
This
you
is a nightmare.
disassociate. You just disassociate, and you kind of and you become a little dead inside as you travel through whatever area it is until you get to wherever it is. So like that's the first thing, because then people start to take pride again in their community, and then people start to feel invested again. They start to feel like participants again, and then the community becomes engaged in the policing, right? Then like everybody's seen these movies. It's almost a trope now, but where whether it's whether it was Rambo or Jack Reacher movies or whatever, it's like some guy comes into our small town or whatever, and it's like, hey, we don't take vagrants around here, but they're like, because everybody's involved in protecting the community.
Mm-hmm.
And when you live in a broken windows type of community, people don't feel that at all. And in fact, the opposite, right? And so it's one of the most important things you can do. And then of course, what it translates into over time, they did a great job on. There's a show called Blue Bloods. It's on TV. It's Tom Selleck plays he's like the commissioner of police in New York City, and he's got a son who's like a detective and another son who's on the force, and his daughter's like he works for the DA's office, and it's a great show.
Sounds like a
But
true cop family.
and it's Blue Bloods, right? And then Lynn Carey, who's like his dad, who was the grandfather. He was the commissioner of police before him. And so there's always these interesting conversations. Like back in my day, we just take a billy club to him, and it's like, yeah, well, we Pop, we can't do that anymore, And but Selleck is still like very much law and order and whatever else, and he's a big fan of the broken windows thing. And then of course, him and the daughter will get into it. The son, who's a cop, he was going to go be a lawyer. He's at Harvard Law School, and then he decided to become a cop after his oldest brother was killed in line of duty or whatever. It's a great show.
Okay.
And
it's
a
on
lot
Paramount
of
Plus, by the way, if anyone we're
yep.
sponsored by Paramount Plus. Here we go.
Paramount Plus, and they're kind of their thing is in most of the episodes towards the end they'll get around like the dining room table. They have dinner together every Sunday as a family, whatever. They'll talk back and forth about what happened, and it's good because it's a variety, a good perspective. But the commissioner gets under like just a ton of flack for like this broken windows policing. The mayor of New York is a black guy, and they're always like just loggerheads. And it's a great show. But he's like, look, we do it because it works. It's like that's the easiest dial that you can turn to see, like that's the first indicator that you see that things are going sideways, and it's the easiest dial to turn to get things back on track. And it can be taken too far too. Like, and that's the argument against Giuliani is that after cleaning up the streets and getting all the crime taken, which everybody was grateful for. But then, as he stayed in office past that point, it was just like, who else can we crack down on? And then it was like hot dog vendors and falafel stands and all kinds of just nonsense.
It's like, but everybody loves their falafel vendor. Like you can't.
It's like, well, come on, man. This guy's selling hot dogs. And it's the same. It's the same conversation that I have around the immigration thing. It's like, look, yes, we have a problem with immigration, and yes, they should crack down at the border, and all that's great, but then you start going after people, trying to work at Home Depot and raiding daycares and stuff. This is not cool, because it's like, what are you trying to do? Like you're trying to get rid of, the people that are criminals, and I think we talked about this last week. It's like, okay, yeah, well, they broke, they're here illegally. They are criminals. Yes. Okay. That's fine. And, if you're discovered to not have papers in the course of, encountering you for something else, then absolutely you should get deported or whatever the case may be. Right. But to go and look for you at the place that you're working, like that, it's just, I don't get that.
I think you might feel differently if you were working in an industry that competes with those workers. So like if you are a healthcare, what we said, uh, what was the not nursing home, but preschool
Yeah,
or
daycare.
daycare
Yeah,
workers. So let's say you're a daycare worker, and you now can't get a job. There's too many daycare workers out there, and your wages are depressed heavily if you can even get a job at all. And there's
right.
a person sitting right over there in that in that daycare center that's not even supposed to be here in the country. That could have been your job,
Okay, and I
and
agree.
they're
I
sitting
agree.
they're sitting in an
But
apartment
but
that
there are other ways to go and get that person. Like what needs to happen there is a crackdown on the businesses, not a crackdown on not raids on the workers. What we should do is okay, if like let's say for example agriculture, right?
Mhm.
So we know that a high percentage of people that work in the field agriculture, whether it's California artichokes, any number of these different things. We know that there's tons of illegal,
Sure,
undocumented workers. Okay, let's
sure.
put it that way. Okay, so one way to do it is what they're doing. Well, let's go raid, such and such, round them up. Or another way is just to audit the business. Hey, are you guys compliant with, we want to see all your documentation. We want to see this. And then we want to cross check on all the social security numbers to make sure, that they're not dead people or small children or what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because and then we find the businesses. So, hey, listen, you're getting audited. We're going to be there in a week. We need this much information. And by the way, we understand oversights can happen, but if you crack down on yourself before we do the audit, then whatever. There
All
should
good.
be there can be any number of different incentive structures there. But for some reason, they don't go and do that because the small business owners and the whatever, they're the ones that are your constituency. So you're like, oh, we can't mess with them. They're the ones that voted for us, So it's much easier. First of all, these people are illegal; they didn't vote, so it's politically expedient. What's the backlash going to be from them? And then, but also it's like, oh, and this will get us headlines politically with our base. That's like, they want to see all the illegals gone because they're, whatever issues they've got going on. And it's like, um, and
So
yeah, and so we'll get some bad headlines from it, but the people that are going to have the bad headlines, we don't like them anyway. So screw 'em,
so think about it. So I don't know as far as like which one would be more effective. Here is if you just put aside whatever, like I know a lot of times this gets cashed out in morality terms for like you're separating families and all this other
Oh,
stuff.
I'm not saying that. I mean, like, you know,
You,
I mean,
put aside all that
you
stuff.
carried out illegal activity, you might get separated from your kids.
I mean, I get
What does
separated from
that?
kids. Like
Yep.
people get separated from the kids all the time for committing crimes. Um, think about it. Think about it though strategically in the other direction, right? So let's say by doing this one action, think of what it. So you go in, you round up a bunch of people, like snap raid on what do you say, like an agricultural facility or whatever. All right. So look at what this does. Number one, those people they're immediately gone. It's not like they get pushed aside, switched to cash only, told that, hey, you can't work here anymore, but don't worry, people down the road or the next state over. Like, no, we get them immediately, they're now gone. So step one, that seems like strategically good. You say, well, why not get the businesses to do it? Well, if you're the business and you suddenly lose half of your workforce overnight, you don't have a chance to rehire different people or do job searches, suddenly your entire operation is disrupted. That sends a very powerful signal that, like, hey, do you want your business to be disrupted instantly with no warning? Like, no. So you better you
Might want
better
to get
do
them
those
compliant.
audits
Yeah.
yourself, right?
Mhm.
And then the third thing that it does is it sends a message to anybody who would think about coming across the border illegally to work anyway, right? Because it's like, hey, it's not just that, like, well, we might get shuffled around a little bit till you find some place that's a little more sanctuary or some other place. It's like they will come get you. You will be put in jail. You have to watch like your wife will be separated from you because it's like all the men over here, all the women over there, whatever. And it's like, would you like that? Does that something that is appealing? He's like, no, that's not appealing at all. It's like, well, don't do that. Right. So it does all three of those with one action, where before you would have to do a bunch of diplomacy on the third one. You'd have to have all these regulatory agencies working with the employers in the second. There would always be this little pushback, this give and take that you'd have to deal with. And it's like, nah, we don't have to mess with any of that stuff. You just go get the people, and it actually accomplishes all of the other ones at the same time.
I get why it's expedient.
It gives you some bad headlines, but the bad headlines from people who actually don't believe in borders anyway. I mean,
that's not true.
Well,
I believe in borders. I find the headlines offensive.
Well, but look at it like this, right? Like if you decided tomorrow that you're like, you know what, I want to work in Luxembourg, you can't. It's like, well, I just want to move there and live there. It's like you're gonna have to ask them permission. If they say no, you can't do it. And especially like if you got there and you started waving the American flag everywhere and like this should be America, and like they get rid of you real fast. You start protesting all the time. So there's no way, right, that any country would allow that kind of thing unless the people in that country felt like they didn't really that border wasn't real. The borders around their country were, you know, something that should be set aside.
Well, quite a few countries have done that. I mean, I don't think the effects have been very good, but I mean, like, you know, England has done that, Germany's done that, France has done that to a certain extent. You know, they've all cut it off here over the last like 3 years.
Yeah.
But I mean, England is no longer a majority British country anymore. I mean, like they don't. The majority of people live there weren't born there, not from there.
Yeah.
Don't have any tie to the community at all.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like you're gonna see some of these cultures just die out, and they don't deserve to live, honestly.
Which cultures are you talking about?
Well, well, take France for example, right?
Oh, I see.
Right, so they've imported a whole bunch of people. They have very different culture than they do, and there's a lot of work to try to preserve that the cultures that are coming in, but it doesn't seem like that much effort is being it is like, no, there's something about being French that's good that we should keep, and that like it's something to be celebrated. It's like, no, it's actually kind of shameful.
I've visited France a bunch of times. I'm not sure what it is either. So
well, but that's the thing. It's like, but the thing is, is that
I love France, but the French people, you know,
it's just,
and my friends that are French, they will back me up on that.
They don't.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, but it's a simple numbers game. The French people don't want to reproduce at the level that would enable their culture to survive. So we're going to keep the French government and the French country going longer by importing hopefully productive people who are having children.
Well,
and
and who will pay taxes so that we can continue to get social services out. I mean, like, dude, that's a big problem.
And the thing is, the French culture, instead of dying suddenly as it's like taken over because their land is empty or whatever, it's taken over by someone else. Instead, it dies very slowly, and maybe parts of it still survive in whatever comes out of their mass migration experiment. And so we'll probably all be surprised at the various bits of French culture that make it, 200 or 300 years down the road. But like the French people, they don't have the will to live because they don't have the will to reproduce. The same thing goes for England. Same thing goes for Japan. I mean, those cultures they've lost all their vitality because people don't want to have kids anymore. Same thing is true for the United States.
Japan, the young men don't even want to have sex anymore.
They're like, we're vegetarians.
It's crazy. It's like, I'm not into it.
We're done.
Just not into it.
I've got my anime pillow. It's cool. But that's
before we leave this topic. I just finished watching 1923, the Yellowstone prequel. The second season, episode 4. For those of you guys that haven't seen it or may want to watch it, one of the main characters comes through Ellis Island, and it is one of the coolest. I mean, a lot of movies have done this really well. Like, Godfather 2 did it. Several different movies have done like an Ellis Island kind of like, thing. But I mean, I've never seen one as good as this one. And what's interesting is that at every point, it's like come to America, But then when you get here, it's like, they're going through and it's like, oh, you've got lice, or you're a pregnant woman, whatever, and they were just sending them back. It's like, no, nope. And at one point, she's going through these different, checkpoints and having to, have these different, sit downs with officials or whatever. And it's like, well, what kind of marketable skills do you have? What can you do? You know? And, I was like, what do you mean? It's like, well, this is the land of opportunity. This isn't the land where we're going to give you a handout. So like, I mean, we need to know that you can come in here and fend for yourself, or you're not getting in, because this isn't a place where we're just going to take care of you, you know? And I just thought it was fascinating. It's just, and it's such a testament, I think, to why America and Americans occur as so different than so many other cultures on the planet. Um, Maybe not that we have this going for us at this moment, but the fact that like our parents, grandparents, and great grandparents it went through that. I mean, the stuff these people go through in this series is just. And for those of you guys that haven't seen 1883 either, I cannot recommend these seasons. 1883 is a must watch. If you live in America and you're an American, you should absolutely watch it, because it's so. Have you seen it?
First couple episodes, it's a little rough, so I just watch one every 6 weeks.
It is. I mean, it's basically it recaptures the Oregon Trail, basically. But with
you died of dysentery.
But I mean, dude, it is crazy. I'm like, dude, this is unbelievable. Like, who would do this? I mean, who would do this? And it's like, oh, well, I mean, really, people with no options. I mean, it's like this is, you get a bunch of desperate people.
And if your government is like, driven by this idea of it is our destiny to be sea to shining sea, and we need more people here to go take that land from the Native Americans,
from the Indians. Yeah, that's right.
Let's go. Like, we can't turn our back on what God has given us.
Right.
That
and
kind of level of
40
belief.
acres and a mule.
Yeah. But the kind of belief and that's why you see these pioneer families have like 10 kids.
You have to. Who's going to help me work this land?
Well, because they believe, right, in this future, and so.
And they even knew. Here's what's crazy is, like, in so many instances, like in the I'm just referring back in my memory to the show, but like in so many instances, like they knew it wasn't even for them. It was like, we're never going to experience the good things that we came here for. It's for our kids.
Yeah.
It's like, we're doing this for you. And to the point where they're willing to sacrifice themselves or whatever, so that they're, and they make all kinds of choices that are just completely like, wow, I can't believe this. Like, no, but the kids have to make it, because that's the whole point of what we're doing this for. It's a fascinating period of history.
Well, and I think that's why America probably can absorb immigrants in a way that a lot of European countries can't. And so, whatever is going on here is way less of an issue than I think what's going on in certain parts of Europe, in terms of like the societal effects of mass migration of people. But they're going to need it just as much. I mean, like I said, those societies have lost the will to live. So, you might as well import your replacement and pass on some of your values to them, so that something survives. So it's like, the what is it? What in Britain, I think for the second year now in a row, the most common birth name given in hospitals is
Mohammed.
Right? So it's like, hopefully 100 years from now, Englishman named Mohammed will have the same sort of love in his heart for Winston Churchill, that someone would have now. And so
cricket will unify everybody. Yeah.
Tea and all this other stuff.
Rugby.
And in British literature, like maybe they can pass on some of this before that ethnicity dies out, because they are, and that's what's happening right now.
Dude, it's there's a scene in the show, that one of the episodes where they run across a black person or something. Whatever. And it's like he can read, and it's like, of course I can read. It's so funny. It's like, do you realize, like, look, I'm from Spain or whatever. My people ruled Spain for 800 years. Like, what are you talking about? Can I read?
Yeah. We invented algebra. Shut up. Yeah.
I'm more educated than you are, you ignorant hick,
Of course I can read.
Of course I can read.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with all this stuff. I'm kind of curious. I I know the midterms are still a little bit away.
Yeah,
By the way, can I just mention one thing
of
about
course.
the upcoming midterms? And so,
You have predictions?
not a prediction. This is just a
All right.
hope. I really hope John Cornyn loses the primary. I literally don't care who he loses it to, nor do I care if the person that beats him wins in the general.
What's he
I
done
just
now?
want him out. I just want him out. He's been the most. He's one of those. So if you think about the battle lines being drawn as establishment versus kind of more insurgent or populist politics, he is the most reliable vote for establishment politics. I mean, it's like, oh, he votes for
Meaning
what?
what though?
Uh, I don't think he voted against a single war measure, sending money overseas to fund more wars.
Hmm.
Um, never voted down a budget increase. Never, or not even try. It's not like, oh, we would do this, but as those pesky Freedom Caucus or whatever, right? Gang of whatever that's holding it up because they're putting the brakes on this. He's never put the brakes on anything. He sponsored more gun control, federal gun control back during the Biden era or whatever. It's like this guy. I mean, yeah, it's red. It's got the little R sticker by his name, but I think I'd rather just have a Democrat in there.
I just googled something there. It says for
What?
real Texas conserv. This is a quote from the
Oh,
Chronicle. For real Texas conservatives, John Cornyn's about as unpopular as a vegan brisket.
oh yeah, yeah. But I don't think that I
Love
don't think
Texas
that's
headlines.
wrong. And so it's not that I'm thinking like, man, he's not MAGA enough or whatever. It's just that the dude's just an establishment guy, and whoever the establishment is, right? If you think about the bipartisan consensus style establishment, it's like, you know, I just don't want any more of that, and I don't really care what party he's with, and I really hope he
Well,
gets primaried out.
well, he probably will. So I think Paxton will kick his butt.
You
I
think
think
so?
Paxton. Yeah,
Paxton's so bad on television though. Cornyn's
it
tall and
won't.
he's
It won't
very
matter. Not in the
statesmanlike.
primary. It won't. It won't matter in the primary because the people that are
You don't
voting
think
in
so?
the primary. No, the people that are voting in the primary are MAGA people. They know Cornyn's not on their page at all, and so they'll absolutely go with Paxton. Paxton serves up all kinds of red meat. I mean, he's awful in my opinion, but
True
yeah,
psychopath.
yeah. I think Paxton will beat him, and then Paxton may lose in the general. I think he's much weaker in the general against whoever runs, whether it's Beto or whoever that other guy is that ran last time, Colin Alred.
Is
Um,
Beto running again?
I don't know, but I mean, why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he?
He keeps
You
losing.
got either you
Lose,
got
lose,
to
lose, 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 lose.
yeah, but
How's he keep
that's
getting funding?
oh, dude, people love Beto, dude, dude, it's like a Republican running for. Think about this. Here's a Republican running for governor of New York of California or governor of New York, okay, or
Okay.
mayor of DC, okay. That person's always going to lose. Okay, it's where they are. It's where the demographics are at the moment, and he could run for the next 15 years. He's never going to, whatever Democrat that they run is going to have a serious disadvantage. It doesn't matter whether it's Beto or anybody else. But Beto, has gotten. It's not that I'm some huge Beto fan. I'm just like he's gotten much higher Democratic turnout than any other Democratic candidate up to this point. So, like, I mean,
But I mean, strategically though, so if you're talking
and
about
and,
his
and one, one,
Senate
one
run
other thing.
against Cruz,
One other thing.
yeah, go ahead.
Just so you have more to respond to. I think people on the left or center left, whatever you want to call it, they also see Beto as a national candidate potentially. That a win at this level would position him much better
Launch
for a
him.
national. Yeah,
So
and he would far from be the first person to do that. I mean, JD Vance did that, so I don't see
yeah,
why that's not a viable course
the
of action.
the problem with Beto, I think strategically, if I was giving advice to the DNC, it would be that the guy is going to soak up so much funding because he is a fundraising magnet. And so it's like, well, the people that are going to give to him aren't necessarily going to also give to places where there's a really good chance that they have a much more battlegroundish kind of state. And I don't know, like Trump
But
carried
what would be your advice to Beto then? So 'cause a guy like Beto,
yeah.
and I mean, there's a bunch of these people around the country that are uh, let's say good candidates, but they're in the wrong market, and they're just not going to get traction in that market. So what's the solution for them? Like you just tell them, hey, dude, seek a career elsewhere, or do they keep fighting to put their stamp on where they live, or do they say, okay, well, I'm going to move to some place where I can carpetbag my way in? I mean, like, what's the
Yeah. So carpetbagging, I think, is a legit option. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong or shameful about that. I'm sure there's states out there that would love to have him as someone to bring more national recognition to their state race. Um, the the thing is that like, if he's absorbing hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign stuff only to keep losing, that's money that is not going to shore up vulnerable candidates elsewhere. And I don't know, it just seems like, I don't know, it just seems like, for sure this time let's go all in. And it's like, I don't think so. I don't really think it's going to work. So I don't know, it just seems like a waste of money because of how much he's going to pull in. Like, other people can run for that seat, make a nice showing of it, show up at the debates, make sure your platform is heard. And you don't need to like burn hundreds of millions of dollars trying to, get them within 10 points of winning. I don't know.
Mhm.
It just seems like a bad strategy if you have a limited pocketbook, which right now Democratic fundraising has not been particularly strong.
How could it be, dude? I mean, their numbers are in the toilet, you know?
Well, and they
Um,
don't have their NGO funnel that they used to have either, which I think puts a damper on some things.
yeah, they really got kneecapped, man. It was amazing how much. Oh, I don't know. The people that were following it, I think I certainly was shocked at how much money was being funneled to. Again, I mean, some of these policies I have a soft spot for, so it's not like I'm furious about it, but it's also like, wow, that is
Had no
what
idea.
have going on. Yeah, I mean,
Kind of
it's just
amazing.
that's nuts.
Amazing. The other thing about Beto is that I always felt like he was. So this is going to sound kind of weird, but you know how like Nixon was a great radio candidate, but Kennedy was a much better television candidate, right?
Sure.
People talk about that. So I think Beto is a fantastic magazine candidate. I'm totally serious. Like, he's very photogenic. He has like interesting sense of style. When you have someone that's writing kind of a puff piece about him, there's a lot of cool things you can say about him. He can talk about how, back in the day he was a hacker, whatever that means. And like, he skateboards, and, here we are sitting at his home with his wife, and like, they seem to be so in love with each other. And you have these cool pictures, and it's like, as a magazine spread, mind blowing. Like, how is this guy not already president? But
Well,
then
dude,
like,
I mean, anybody you put in a magazine. I mean, I've been in a magazine before, and
no,
I look terrific in it.
but like, the thing is when he's on television, I mean, I remember in 2020 when he was running for the Democrat nomination, and he's up there and he says a bunch of weird stuff, and he has to walk it back all the time, and like, he looks
But
kind of
he's learned his lesson
goofy.
now. The key, as we've now learned, is to say a bunch of weird stuff and not walk it back. And so it's just, you do the
Yeah,
half that you're good at, which is saying the weird stuff, and just don't walk it back. It's less work.
but that's the
Yeah, I
thing.
said it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
said it.
I don't know. Like, I just, and he would change his position on things so often during that campaign, during the 2020 campaign, that it was kind of like, well, I don't know what I would be voting for. Him personally, he's cool. I'd love to have a beer with him, but like, what policies does he want to do? What are his priorities? It seem to be always changing depending on, what someone else said, or someone else said this zinger and they went
Well,
up in the
so
polls. Well, I'm going to say that zinger too,
what
and like,
what you're saying right there, I think, is the key, because look at Trump for a minute. Okay, Trump has changed his position on, I mean, dozens of
a lot
things.
of a lot of
I
stuff.
mean, so many things. I mean, like, so it's like you can't really call it that it's the changing of positions. I mean, Trump will come out on this, and then literally like next week he'll be like, "Yeah, oh, yeah, we're doing this now," and you're like, "What? I've
The
got
opposite.
whiplash here. What's?" Literally the opposite. I've always been saying that. I've always been, no, I've always been consistent. And it's like, but yeah,
Yeah.
you said that, yeah, look, you're a terrible reporter. Next question.
Yeah.
Like,
Stop
so,
lying. You're what's wrong with
mean,
America.
yeah. I mean, so it's not that, but what it is, I think, is what you just said, which is that when uh, from your perspective, when Beto is changing his position, and I said the same thing about Mitt Romney, the same thing about, I mean, I could go down a list of people on both sides that are just they change their position because they're trying to find the right message that people are going to buy, and it's not authentic. It doesn't come from the heart. There's nothing about it that people feel like they can trust, and that's ultimately, and I mean, in life and business, politics, et cetera, is that do I believe that person has my best interest at heart? Like, do I really believe, right, that they're, or at least they're not going to screw me over as bad as that person is, right? Like
As the other
at a minimum, right? And so it's like, and if you're like, dude, you're just sound testing, your message. If it comes across that way, or you're so quick to, oh well, I was misunderstood there, like it sounds weak, it tests weak, and it leaves people with a, okay, well, no. So I think you're onto something there, and I think Buttigieg has the same problem. I don't know if you saw, he was on a very friendly interview last week. I'm trying to remember who the reporter
I
was.
heard about that. I meant to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet. Did he not do
Dude,
well? He usually does really well at these things.
and the thing is, like, I actually I like Buttigieg a lot. I think he's one of
Mayor
the
Pete?
smartest people. Yeah, Mayor
Well, now
Pete.
Secretary Pete. Secretary Pete.
He's smart. He's articulate. He's well thought out.
Fast
He's
too.
quick on his feet, fast. I mean, but you watch. He's still trying to figure out where he is on so many of these issues. Whether it was Israel and Palestine, whether it was this and that. I mean, like, he was just, he get these long non-answers. It was like, Kamala Part 2. It's like,
Oh, nothing could be that bad.
no. Yeah. Although I do like the beard, I do like the beard that he's got
Oh,
going
did he
on.
grow a beard?
Yeah, he's got a beard now.
Good for him. Maybe
like
he'll
like
seem,
like yours.
okay.
Like,
Maybe he'll seem more masculine now. That's good.
it's so funny, dude. It was so funny. Stephen A. Smith was on Bill Maher last weekend, and Maher was asking him, "So what? Now, I feel like he polls at 0% among Black voters, 0." And so Bill Maher was asking Stephen A.
Why
Smith,
is
like,
that?
"Oh,
Do you know
why?
why?
What?" He was like, "Why is that?" Like, he's like, I'm not Black. I'm not qualified to answer this question, but luckily we have a Black person here. You can answer the question, right? And Steven's like, yeah, well, zero's pretty low. Yeah, he's got some work to do there. And he's like, yeah, I don't think you can go much lower than that. So they're going back and forth, and Steven's like, well, no, what is it? And Steven goes, who Stephen A. Smith is, right? The ESPN guy.
No, that's okay.
He is awesome. He's got a podcast.
Just looked up pictures of Buttigieg with a beard. The beard's good.
Looks good, right? Looks good.
Yeah, that's solid.
Anyway, Smith goes, he's talking about Black folk. He's like, no, Black folk just ain't down with him, man. We just ain't feeling him, brother. We ain't feeling the brother. And he's like, yeah, but why not? He's like, I don't know. But it could be any number of things. I just let you read between the lines, and literally said that. And I was like,
what is that supposed to mean?
I think he was alluding to the fact, that he's gay, right? So he's gay. He's a gay man, and Black people just aren't down with the, they want a man. They don't want to, they don't want to, But he didn't say any of those words at all. Right. But like, it was, I thought, very.
Maybe it's the was there? Okay, was this a meme or was this a photo? Where. Because he and his husband adopted a baby, right?
Yeah, that's right. Here's what's so crazy. While you're formulating that, it is nuts to me to think, okay, you've got a massive segment of the Democratic base, Black people, who may be more socially conservative than the party is, and
Right.
they're already in danger of losing. I mean, even more of a percentage of that voting block. And then you
Yeah.
have, and then you have on the right, um, you've got like people that are becoming beloved. I mean, like beloved, like MAGA loves Scott Bessent, for example. Like, I mean, frankly,
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, he's making a ton of good decisions. It's like, okay, well, I mean, he's an openly gay man, and these are conservative, supposedly Christians.
Yeah.
Nobody's saying anything about the fact that we've got. I mean, they got
Oh,
multiple out
they
gay people, and it's like
they felt the same way
all
about
good.
Peter Thiel. You should check out
Yeah, Peter
Patriots.win.
Thiel's.
Peter Thiel, they were like, "Our gay people are the best gay people. Ours are better." I just sent you a picture, by the way. If you look at your messenger, I
Okay.
think pictures like this might might not go over well in uh, cultures that say prize a certain level of machismo, where that picture has none, maybe like a negative number. It's like the
Yeah,
least macho picture of all time.
but it's also abuse. See, so this is where, like, for people like myself, they're
Oh, I
like,
think it's
okay, this is why Republicans suck. It would be what I used to say all the time. Because, like, I mean, how could you not be behind? This is a loving couple. They adopting their baby. Whatever. Like, and I mean that. I believe that. I think this is great. But you're 100% right, and it's like there's so many. It's so weird, man. You got so many factions on the left now. It's like they're just in disarray here. You've got where it's like, well, I'm not down with that. I'm not down with this, and then you got people that are literally like pro Sharia law and pro. I mean pro Hamas. It is crazy. I'm like, dude, I have no idea what's going on over there. I have no idea what. I used to know what you guys stood for, and was down with it. And I'm just
yeah.
like, I don't know. And I think this is where these guys, like, just to come back to it, these guys like the Westmores and the other people, if they're able to get on, I don't say the right side, but like the area to run against Republicans right now, I think is actually to their right on certain issues where they can totally get away with it, and I would say there are multiple ways. So one is on the area of crime. I mean,
Mhm.
there's nothing that the people victimized most by crime are working people. Like, I mean, let's just get down with it. If you want
Yeah.
to be the working.
But the party's not gonna go in that
Well, but there are
direction.
people like Westmore, for example, who are going in that direction, and so we'll see. But like again, none of the party leaders, I think, are going to be actual leaders come this next cycle. I just don't see who.
Mm.
Right? I mean, even did you see yeah, you sent it to me, the John Oliver takedown of Chuck Schumer? Like, dude,
Yes. It's so
look, I mean,
funny.
this guy, I mean, he's a huge lefty, and it's like he's throwing Chuck under the bus because Chuck is a massive liar, and it's like at some point, because look, dude, real people, again, it's like enough is enough. At some point, you're like, come on, and the other area is on cultural issues. So, for example, like, I don't know if you noticed this, but this story came out this week where the Trump administration had gone to the Smithsonian and said that they wanted an audit done at like 12 of their different properties to,
Yeah, I
to
heard
get
about this.
they
What was this
want they
about?
want the content to reflect more of President Trump's interpretation of history and President Trump's interpretation. So if you look at, like, for example, they have a whole exhibit in there on the I think January 6th was mentioned in an exhibit that they had, and they went through there and basically, like, they took apart, like, all the President Trump exhibit. They've taken out all the references to any of the January 6th stuff, or the fact that he even contested the election. Like, it's not even in there. They just took all of it away, and it's like, and now they have this push to, like, they're renaming a lot of the old Civil War forts and stuff back to their original names, which I don't know what the constituency is out there for that. Now they're being real cute about it. It's like, oh yeah, we're renaming it Fort Bragg, but it's not named after that guy. It's named after something else. We're calling it. And it's like, uh, I don't know what the constituency is for that. And I think and again, these are just like look, ultimately, like we have an awesome past as a country, but we have a checkered past as a country, and there's nothing wrong with admitting it, looking at it, absorbing it into our psyche, and then moving forward with it in an empowered state. And none of the stuff that you're doing is along these areas line up with that. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of areas for them, but
maybe not for this time because we're running out of time. But one way to think about the whole thing about like the Civil War names and stuff, or if it's problematic to sing When Johnny Comes Marching Home or something like that. Do you think the end of the Civil War was the Civil War a war of conquest, or was it a war of reunification?
Again, it depends on who you ask, right? So
right, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is that if it's a war of conquest and we conquered the bad guys, whoever we is, I don't know, right? And the bad guys need to constantly. It's like you are still under the humiliation of being the bad guys, and we conquered you. Or if it's a reunification, then it's like, well, no, they're us. You should feel equally patriotic. Everybody across the country should feel equally patriotic about When Johnny Comes Marching Home and marching through Georgia, because it's both us. We fought ourselves. In which case, well, of course we should honor the fallen heroes from both sides of the war, because both sides were us. Right? Instead of the conquered bad ones that deserve no. In fact, we should deface their graves. I mean,
rip them up.
They
rip them
fought
up. They don't need graves.
They fought for evil, So I think that's kind of
that's an interesting question.
That's probably where the root of that is.
I like that, man.
But you should listen to Marching Through Georgia tonight.
I'm going to put it on right now.
Yeah, see if you can get your family to sing it with you. Maybe march around the house. While marching to Georgia.
Hurrah!
Hurrah! Hurrah! Let's join the Jubilee.
Oh man. Yeah. The land, what is it? The land that makes you free?
Yeah. The flag that makes you free.
The flag that makes you free. Yeah.
Yeah. So we sang this chorus from Atlanta to the sea while we were marching through Georgia. That's a great way to get yourself beat up, by the way.
Yeah.
For a long time.
It's weird that they don't have a verse about burning everything to the ground. That's weird. It's odd. All right, brother. Well, this was good, man. Another fun convo in the books. Next week, same time?
Next time we need to talk about religion.
Oh, yeah, let's do it. But first you have to listen to the podcast.
We haven't made enough. I tried, man.